Hello, and welcome back to the Guns and Glory show. I wanted to talk to you about the concept of man being made in the image of God. I don't. I always understood that to mean that he looks like us, like when he was on Earth. That makes sense, but I don't. I'm not convinced that's quite how it works. Now I do believe that Jesus is in heaven now, in a glorified form of his earthly body. Um, that's in scripture, but I don't know about this, about God, like the Father looking like people. Now there is something in the human mind that recognizes a face even in a shape. Like you get a splat on the wall and you might see two eyes and a mouth or something, or you might see a Mazda or something and think coming down the road, the car is smiling at you. um I think that God has that kind of a recognizability. His creatures will recognize him, of course, but the human body isn't really that great of a design. It was a good prototype maybe, but as a design though, that's not good. For example, um teeth. You might notice I don't have any, and I'm glad I don't have any, except that girls will judge you and they won't touch you after that at all. That's the end of that. So that's one reason I don't do that. We'll get a video about that one anyway later. Anyhow, the pain that these things cause people is just unreasonable. And it's not like the person did anything wrong. It's a bad design. And before we had even modern dentistry, I mean, it was like, I have personally broken teeth like with the vice grips, like when it locks, I was waiting for that pop to actually crack the tooth to kill the root. It was in that much pain. To do that to people, it's just wrong. It is. It's part of the curse, but the teeth were made before the curse, so bad design. Now, another thing, we got two lungs, but they're not separate. They can't function independently, so if something happens, you're dead. We got one heart. We got two ears, though, and the ears, yeah, that's another problem. The tissue doesn't regenerate, and we get this wonderful thing called tinnitus, or, just deafness. Your fingernails, that regenerates. Your spinal tissue doesn't, but your hair does. Yeah, that was well thought out. We're bipedal. That's stupid. We're top heavy. We're easy to tip over. We get hurt. On top of it, the brain is soft, and if it gets injured, it wants to swell. But God put it in the coconut, and that's just not good for the brain in a swelling condition, especially after being stuck on top of a beanpole and tipping it over and smacking it into the ground, because we don't have very good balance. We don't. We can't fall very far. We can't jump very high. We can't get too hot. We can't get too cold. We can't fly. We can't run very fast. We can't swim very far. We're not a good design. The human body's a joke. I mean, we get this fungus on our feet. We get this crap on our teeth that dissolves it. Well, why not make an antibiotic in the saliva instead? That would have been a better idea. I think it would have been a sterile environment. That makes sense. That's good. There's all kinds of things about the human body that are like that are just frankly dumb. And for that reason, I can't believe that God is like maybe we were picturing it in the image of man. There are so many failures and faults with just the basic design of the human body that I do question God and his creation. Like it or not, that's where I'm at. It just wasn't a very good idea. I mean, you look at a duck and they're barefoot and they're swimming around in slush. So yeah, God could have done a little bit better with the feet. Okay, and like they're animals that can hear everything, and we ought to be able to do that. We ought to be able to go in the water and breathe as well as in the end of the air and breathe. We shouldn't have to worry about getting so hot or so cold that we die within just a few degrees Fahrenheit of a proper temperature with which the earth wasn't designed properly to accommodate us. I live in the UP. That's stupid, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm 6 months inside, and why am I here then? Because it's the only way I can afford enough property. I'm broke. I can't have neighbors. This ain't gonna work. The other one almost. Never mind. We're online. Anyway, so here I am in the woods, and if I were to go outside this little building, which if it wasn't for my mom, I couldn't even afford, I would die. And that's just not a very good design. I've got this ringing in my ears constantly, and that's because of loud noises. Well, God has foreknowledge; He knew about loud noises, and therefore should have prepared the creation which will live in an environment with loud noises to be able to withstand it. I mean, it's common sense. If you make a boat, you make it so it don't leak. It needs to stay on top of the water. Just there's stupid things like that, and I had a couple of other examples, but I really can't think of them. We have like the lungs, for example. That's a good thing. You ever seen somebody die of like lung cancer or COPD? It's terrifying. I don't have a problem, people die, they owe God that. But to make them die that way? No, that's cruel. They're just sucking for air. That's one reason that I am the way that I am with some of the things that I own and the willingness that I am to protect those items to that level, because I don't want to die in some rest home trying to breathe. I've seen it. I'm not going to initiate anything, but don't tread on me. So, anyway, just the image of God thing. It don't make sense. I don't get it. Something to think about. Take it easy.